Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Brothers and sisters, welcome back to Nasiha Sessions. This is the weekly advice show every Thursday night where I try my best to give you advice for problems that you might be going through. You guys email me in at nasihasession@gmail.com. The email address is below and I try my best to provide advice if it's within my ability. Usually the kind of stuff that I respond to is the kind of stuff that is so difficult for you to find advice for, because you can't really talk to people about this stuff. This is real private, real personal, real deep stuff that some might even feel quite embarrassed and uncomfortable about, even if it come even asking some of their closest and most beloved people. So they can email me in an anonymous fashion and I'll try my best to answer. Now, before I begin, I do want to mention as a disclaimer that this video is based on an advice that a sister requested for her problem, which is quite graphic, which I'm going to mention because there are a few people that go through this and they might not be going through the exact same thing, but they might be going through similar things. For that reason, I'm going to mention what her problem is, inshallah ta'ala. But if you're a person who's easily offended or you might feel uncomfortable, then this is an opportunity for you to close the video and not watch it, to save yourself having to get upset and offended throughout the duration of the video. But I would at the same time recommend that you do watch it for educational purposes, because this is becoming an increasingly common problem in various different forms, perhaps not in the exact form that she's experiencing it, but in other forms. So the advice that I give will be applicable to the various different forms that this problem kind of manifests itself in. May Allah protect you. It might be something that you go through and prevention is better than cure, or you might come across someone or know someone who's going through the same thing and you'll be able to benefit them if you learn. So the sister basically emails in and mentions that she has been experiencing some jinn activity at night, in the early hours of the morning when she is trying to sleep. She mentions that there is a figure that comes and it has sex with her, it sexually assaults her, it rapes her. And she mentions that this is occurring on a daily basis. Every day she comes and gets raped by this figure. Now, some people, may be familiar with this kind of thing, but some may be familiar on a bit of a lesser scale. There's something that people call sleep paralysis, which is when you're sleeping at night and you kind of, you can't move, you can't control anything or whatever have you. That's usually when a jinn comes and it kind of, it messes with you at night. And that's something that a lot of people have experienced, probably at least at one point in their life. Some people, they experience it more commonly than others. And for some people, it's quite a consistent problem and reoccurring problem that happens. Now, this is that kind of a problem, okay? In cases that are a bit more serious, the person might actually be physically assaulted by being like beaten or hit by this particular spirit, by this evil jinn, this evil shaitan, this demon that comes to them at night. And in also an extreme and serious case, as the sisters, there are cases where there are women that actually have been raped by such a spirit, such a demon. And this is something that we're starting to see is becoming a common phenomenon, as there is even a video that was recently put online about a woman who explains that she's actually, engaging in sexual activity with a ghost.
Sex?
Yeah, I had sex with the ghost.
With a ghost?
Yeah. Yes.
But you can't wrap your arms around a ghost.
No.
So how physically, how does the sex bit happen?
You can still feel it. Like it was it's difficult to explain.
Like a weight?
Kind of a weight, but at the same time weightless, and like a physical, there's the breath and stroking, and the energy as well. I think the energy was a lot to do with it. Do you feel a connection?
And does a sexual experience with a ghost end in orgasm?
For me, yeah.
Gosh, so wow.
And fan for the ghost?
I just hope so.
Now, of course, we don't have any textual evidence to substantiate the claim of ghosts being present, but the way that we would interpret such an incident based on the textual evidences we have is that is a jinn that comes and actually has sexual intercourse with this woman. And this is something that we've heard about, even the kuffar have experienced it, and we're starting to get more common reports from sisters who are educated with regards to the world of the jinn, and they know there's a jinn that's trying to rape me. And even there have been cases where brothers have been assaulted physically. Sometimes, it can also be sexually by such a filthy spirit, such a demon, during their sleep. Now, she mentions this is becoming an increasingly common problem. She tried to speak to her mother about it, but her mother kind of just blew her off and passed it over, and just said that basically she's just kind of experiencing this and feeling like this because she just wants to have sex. So that's kind of just like her mind playing games on her, making her think, because she's just getting desperate, which is obviously not the case for her. She's adamant that that's not the case. She's actually feeling this, and she wakes up in the morning. There have been cases where people actually find discharge between their legs, the kind of discharge that occurs when a person has engaged in sexual intercourse. Now, generally speaking, that could just be that you had a wet dream. But if you are actually experiencing the feeling of being raped, you're actually feeling the pain, you're actually feeling the physical feeling that comes along with it. Sometimes that can happen in a dream, and then you wake up with the physical bruising and the physical kind of thing. Or it might not be a dream, it could actually be that you actually are experiencing it while you're awake, but you're in a state of almost sleep paralysis where you can't do anything, or you feel kind of weak, and you're just basically being overpowered, and it's basically doing that with you. Now, she mentioned that, she started to pray, and when she started to pray, it got a bit better in the sense that she can't now see the figure raping her, but she still feels the figure raping her. And every day she still has to do this ghusl and cleaning herself, and having to take her out of this major ritual impurity by doing the ghusl, which is the bath of purity, to uplift yourself from major ritual impurity. She wants to now know how this filthy act could come to an end. She wants to know how this can be stopped. Now, before I made this video, bearing in mind, I've personally heard other incidences. I used to know a person who had a girlfriend. He came to me and he told me that, his girlfriend is experiencing a similar thing where she feels that something is touching her. She might just be sitting in her house at home, and she feels that something is touching her in her intimate regions. And of course, having a girlfriend is haram, but something is touching her in her intimate regions and causing her to reach an orgasmic state, basically. And this is something that we've heard, but the thing is, I wanted to double check. I wanted to, make sure that this is something that the professionals who deal with issues of magic and evil eye and jinn possession and whatnot, and I wanted to see if this is an issue that they've actually dealt with on a professional level. So I got in touch with Ustadh Tim Humble, hafidhahullah ta'ala, who is an expert in the field of ruqya and exorcism pertaining to the Islamic sciences and how Islam deals with it, because that's really the only way to deal with it. In fact, it is the only way to deal with it. Anything else is leading to kufr or shirk. And he was trained by one of the best, if not the best, sheikh who is trained in the science of ruqya and dealing with magic, and that's Sheikh Adil al-Muqbil, hafidhahullah ta'ala. So this is a qualified person that I was asking, and I basically sent him the sister's question. I said, is this something that you've actually experienced people having to do with? Have you dealt with cases like this? Because I didn't want it to be a thing where people were actually just having kind of an imagination, where I've been in situations where people come to me and said, bruv, I need ruqya, I've got this, I've got that, I've got this, I've got that, but really a lot of the times it's just them being paranoid, even though a lot of the times it's not, but that could be the case. So I wanted to double check, is this something that happens? And he mentioned this is something that does happen, in the sense where we've got numerous reports from people saying that they've experienced this, and these reports seem to be authentic. Not only that, he said that which we know about the jinn is very consistent with what we know about the jinn, that they could be doing something like this. It makes sense. Like, this is not something that goes beyond the scope of that which we understand and have understood about the jinn from the textual evidences. So then he sent me an article, inshallah ta'ala, which I'm going to mention some of the points that he mentions on how a person can deal with such a problem and prevent it from occurring. So those of you who are safe from this, alhamdulillah, you should be doing this anyway. If not all the things, at least a lot of the things on the article, because a lot of it is just daily practice that a Muslim should be engaging in anyway. Some of it is specific stuff for the problem. But those of you who are experiencing, sleep paralysis, or, sexual activity at night, or assault or attacks from the jinn, the evil jinn of any nature at night, in the form of nightmares, in the form of being beaten or touched or whatever have you, then you need to be doing these things as well, inshallah ta'ala. So I'm going to mention what he mentioned in his article, and I'm going to post the article below the video so you can check it as well. But before I do that, I want to give you guys a kind of, introduction to this whole issue. Sometimes people end up getting possessed or having magic or jinn coming to them because someone sends magic over to them. Sometimes it's due to sins, sometimes it's due to the fact that the shaitan or the jinn just took a liking to you, but you didn't take preventative measures to protect yourself. So I'm not going to address the first one about the issue of magic because we've got that in other videos, and on the Muslim on the Knowledge College, which is an online Islamic Studies Institute, I've got a whole course on how to do ruqya on a person who's possessed or evil eye or suffering from magic. Okay, so you can go to that on the link below and sign up, and it's on one of the bonus courses there. But I want to address the issue of getting attacked or possessed or whatever have you, or jinn messing with you due to your sins, or due to you maybe not sinning but also at the same time not protecting yourself from the evil spirits that could be around. Let's talk about the issue of sins first. Brothers and sisters, there is a principle in our religion, al-jaza'u min jinsil amal. A person will be given that which he done. So if a person is sinning, then that person is opening themselves up for the consequences that come as a result of a sin. Some of these these consequences a lot of the time are punishments, but at the same time it's like if you do something wrong, something bad is going to happen. If I stab myself in the chest, I will bleed. If I jump off a building, I will fall. Do you see what I'm saying? If you do certain sins, rather any sins, there are certain direct consequences that happen as a result of that. One of those such consequences is that the protection of Allah, there is a veil that is protecting you, that is the protection of Allah, it is removed from you because of your sins. For example, the Prophet ﷺ told us that people who engage in sexual activity when they're not married, or they might be married but they have sexual activity with someone who they're not married with, they're having an affair, they're doing adultery, then what happens is that the person's iman actually comes out of their body at that time. The person's iman, your Islam, it leaves your body at that time. It comes back in after the activity is stopped, but at that time, your iman is gone, which means you're not being protected. The worst case is that you die in that state. The angel of death takes your soul and you're not in a state of iman. But from a lesser case, which is still severe, is that you could at that time be very easily possessed. When people are engaging in sexual intercourse, your iman is gone. You've basically thrown over your shoulder the protective barrier that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed between you and the evil spirits. And you basically said, come to me. You've invited them. And that's the case with any sin. But specifically, I want to highlight this issue of sex because we live in a day and age of filth and corruption where people are watching pornography, masturbating, having sex with their boyfriends or their girlfriends, or sometimes not even a boyfriend, girlfriend. It's a random chick you just have sex with, or a random guy just have sex with him. Maybe it's not the complete sexual intercourse, but they're giving each other oral sex, they're touching each other in inappropriate places, their lips in, snogging, kissing. All that falls up into this because it's an evil sin and it all comes under the category of what you would call fahsha. Fahsha, which means filthy evil acts. Okay, filth, disgusting, lewd acts, obscene acts, sexual kind of perversions. That all falls under it, and this is so common. I mean, find me a person who's safe from this in this day and age. Find me a boy or a girl that's a Muslim that goes to your college or school that has never even at least lips the guy. It's rare. I'm not saying there's none, but it's rare. So these people are actually saying, removing the protection from them and from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala between them and the evil spirits. Hatta, do you know that this is something that even the people who are married couples who are actually having sexual intercourse in a halal way, they're not free from. The Prophet ﷺ taught us a dua that we should make when a husband and a wife are going to engage in sexual intercourse. Allahumma jannibna ash-shaytan wa jannibna ma razaqtana. Allahumma jannibna ash-shaytan wa jannibna ash-shaytana mimma razaqtana. Oh Allah, protect us from shaitan and protect that which you provide for us from shaitan, meaning our child. If we have this sexual intercourse, if we have a child, protect not only us, protect the child. Imam Mujahid rahimahullah, who was a student of the companions, he mentioned something powerful. He took from this, he said, look, why is the married couple being told, oh Allah, protect us from shaitan at the time of sex and protect the child? We understand protect the child because that's the time that you might conceive a child. So shaitan wants to try and get to the child straight from the beginning, straight from conception. So you say, Allah, protect this child from conception. But what about you and your wife? Why is it that you need to seek protection from shaitan at that time? He said, this hadith is an evidence to show that shaitan or an evil jinn, the shayateen, remember there's the one main shaitan which is Iblis, then there's the shayateen which are the evil jinn basically, yeah? The shayateen, they can be present at the time of you being intimate with your wife. They're there. Because remember, they're perverts, they're sick, they're filthy, they're evil devils. They love filth. So they would love to see, two people, they want to invade your privacy and just watch you have sex for them. It's like the same way a human wants to watch porn, right? A human might want to watch a couple having sex, the same way they want to do that. And sometimes, he said, Imam Mujahid, the shaitan will get involved. He'll get involved in the sexual intercourse. He'll be doing things to your wife. He'll be doing things to your husband at the time. So the way to protect yourself is to say, Allahumma jannibna shaitan. Wa jannibna shaitana mimma razaqtana. Oh Allah, safeguard and protect us from shaitan. And safeguard and protect that which you provide for us if it's a child from shaitan as well. Now that's the case for a married couple. Now of course, if you read that dua, you're good. When do you read it? Imam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said you can read it before you even take your clothes off. You can read it at the time when you're naked. You can read it just before you enter into your spouse. The point is that you read it before you do intimacy. Okay? Now if that's the case with a married couple, shaitan is coming to them when they are in halal. Then what about if you're not even married and you're just watching porn? You're asking for shaitan to jump on you. You're asking shaitan to violate you. You're asking him to possess you. Wallahi, billahi, wa tallahi. I used to know a friend when I was in Jahiliyyah. And he told me that when there was a particular woman, he would go and he would do zina with her. And at the time of zina, he would say that when we were basically about to finish the act and when they both would reach to ejaculation, he said, I would feel a demon enter me. I would feel something overcome me. And we used to just think, what's this guy on? Because we were jahil, listening to these stories or whatever have you. And he used to say it. And then I remember, wallahi, I'm not kidding you, in that same gathering when I was listening to these guys, another one of my friends, from my friend's circle said, the same thing happens to me. So I was like, what? This is common. You man are just getting possessed. And then he mentioned this happens to other people that I know. So I was like, whoa, you guys actually experiencing. He's like, you feel this energy of something else there, something else enter you. He says sometimes, he goes, one of them said, I will do with a woman and she starts like basically reacting like there's a demon inside of her. So I'm like, right, this is common amongst you people and you're still doing it? Lies. Brothers and sisters, is something you want to save yourself from. Because that shaitan could destroy your life. And ultimately the shaitan wants to lead you to kufr. So if it possesses you, it wants to stop you from praying, it wants to from this until you leave Islam. So it will try to take you away from your dunya and your akhirah. Protect yourself, wallahi. My sisters, some of you, wallahi, you're disobeying Allah by not covering yourself. You're disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by not covering yourself, by not wearing the jilbab or the niqab. If you believe the niqab is obligatory, then wear that. And if you believe jilbab is obligatory, wear that. The jilbab is the item of clothing which, it covers you from here. It's like the hijab garment that you wear on the head. It covers your chest, goes down, and it's very and the undergarment that you wear underneath. When I say undergarment, I mean underneath the hijab, the what you would call the abaya, but it's not an abaya. It's a jilbab because it's more loose, it's more baggy. That is what you have to wear. Every woman has to wear that because Allah said that in the Quran. Surah Al-Ahzab, Allah used the word jilbab. That's the minimum that a woman has to wear. The abaya, which is tight, it's not correct. Wallahi, it's not. The hijab, and then we've got various alterations. We've got the hijab with this hanging out, that hanging out, the hijab with the neck showing, the back showing, the turban. And then some of you are maybe even wearing the jilbab, but you're wearing makeup. Two things are happening here. Number one, you're disobeying Allah, so the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not as strong for you as it would be for someone who's obeying Allah. Number two, you're actually attracting the evil jinn, the evil shaitan, to fall in love with you. The same way when you walk down the street and a guy is looking at you, he might try to approach you. He won't try and rape you though, would he? But the shaitan, it's easy for the shaitan to try that. You know why? Because you can't see it, so he can just touch you and you won't even know. It could be playing with you. It could be trying to rape you. come to you at night. And how many times have I, wallahi, I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to say something that will shock you. The majority of sisters who are watching here, if I was to read Quran on you, or a person who knows Ruqya was to read Quran on you, the majority of you, meaning more than 50%, are possessed or have a jinn that's bugging you. Majority. I'm being serious. Maybe you just don't know. Come, let me read Quran on you. Find someone to read Quran on you and see how you react. This is real, it's not a small problem. This is big, this is common. Wallahi, it's common. By the way, please, I beg you guys, at the end of this video, make sure you send this video to so many people. I really want you guys to listen and watch this video. I want you to spread this video. I don't ask this much because I don't call for people to view me or watch my stuff. But this video, please, spread it like wildfire so people can just take this in, inshallah. Come, you will find that there are problems. More than 50%. I'm telling you, it's shocking. Now, what about the sister who's not even wearing the hijab? She's not even wearing nothing. But the one who not only that, but she wears tight clothes, revealing clothes. Then she puts perfume on herself. What the Prophet said, don't do. If any woman who wears perfume and she wants to allure the men or the men to smell her, then she is a fornicatress. And then on top of that, she listens to music, and then the guy listens to music, and then they both go to the club and they both drink music. Like, what's that? What's music? Music is the sound of shaitan. وَافْسِزْ مَنِ اسْتَطَعْتَ مِنْهُمْ بِصَوْتِكَ. Allah said, go and go and terrorize with your voice whoever you want, shaitan. Allah says, Allah told Iblis, the main devil. What is the salt of shaitan here? What did the Sahaba explain this ayah? Abdullah ibn Abbas, Tarjuman al-Quran, the one who explained the Quran, the companion of the Prophet, the cousin of the Prophet. What did he say? He said, the salt of shaitan, the voice of shaitan, who is music. So you guys, Allah said, وَافْسَزْ مَنِ اسْتَطَعْتَ مِنْهُمْ بِصَوْتِكَ. With your voice, go and terrorize who you want. Meaning with the music, go and do that. So you guys are there, listen to your music, listen to this song, listen to that song. Then you're not praying. You got boyfriend, you got girlfriend. You're smoking weed, drinking alcohol. Going clubbing, doing this, doing that. Wallahi, you are asking for yourself to get mashed up in this life. And then what's waiting? And by the way, what you think getting possessed by a jinn is bad? Yeah, it's peak, but there's nothing compared to the punishment for these sins in the next life. That should be more scary for you to want to change, not a video like this. So I'm begging you, my beloved brothers and sisters, please stop sinning, wallahi. Just the salah, wallahi. A person who's not praying is just asking for it. Forget every sin that I've just said. Forget everything. Forget fornicating, forget alcohol, forget all that. Drugs, wallahi, is a big connection between drugs and jinn possession. Forget all that. Praying. If you're not praying, that's it. Not only that, number one, it's kufr. And a person it's a direct ticket to the hellfire. مَا سَلَقَكُمْ فِي سَقَرٍ. What has brought you to the hellfire? Allah said that they will ask on the day of judgment. They will say, لَمْ نَكُ مِنَ الْمُصَلِّينَ. We never used to pray. Yeah, you go to hellfire for not praying. That's it, it's kufr. For eternity, a person's in there. But sadly, people don't fear hellfire. So they're like, whatever have you. Okay, but at least be scared of this then. Let this be a means for you to come closer to Allah, your iman to go up, and then for you to start fearing hellfire. At least be scared. If you are not praying, wallahi, you're asking shaitan to take you. So anyway, that was an introduction to this. And I want you guys to watch another video that I've got. It's quite a common video that I've got online. It's called, possessed via Facebook. Because there was a girl possessed via Facebook. I expanded on some of these points in that video. Now, inshallah ta'ala, I just want to mention to you guys some points of how you can overcome this, sleep paralysis, these night attacks, or being raped by a shaitan at night. There's, number one, general advice, and you can find this all in the article that I've linked from Ustadh Tim Humble below. The general advice is to have a good ruqya program. If you go into the article, you click it, he will give you a program of a week, of a month, and a year. That which you should be doing, okay? Inshallah ta'ala. But then he mentioned there are some specific issues. He mentions 8 tips. I'm going to mention each of them to you. And if you go to the article, you can click on each one and you can find more information for each one of these 8. But I'll just go through it quickly now. The first thing is that you must remove from your house anything that attracts the shaitan. So what attracts shaitan? If sins are happening in your house, music is being played in your house, pictures are put in your house, because the angels, they don't come. The only pictures that are an exception is that which is necessity. For example, pictures that might be in a passport, or things that are necessity. Yeah, TV attracts shaitan. TV's got, you know, music, filthy things being shown. It is a thing that attracts shaitan. And just generally other sins. If you are living in shared accommodation, then at least try from your own room to remove as much of this as you can. It's a start. That's the first thing. The second thing is that you strictly perform all the adhkar, all the remembrances, all the du'as, the supplications, the words of remembrance that will cause you to be protected from shaitan, okay? There are those that you read in the morning after Fajr, those that you read after Asr, some stuff that you read after Maghrib, and some stuff that you read before night. If you go into the article, you click it, inshallah ta'ala, you'll be able to access that. The third thing is that you read the adhkar and the supplications and the du'as that are specific to overcoming an enemy, okay? There is that stuff specific to overcoming an enemy, inshallah ta'ala. So you read this before sleeping, or suddenly if you wake up at night, you're feeling scared, or if you feel the attack or the attack is taking place, then you read this. So you should have this memorized, because a lot of the times people, they're like, you know, I feel something on me and it won't get off. So read this, the thing will leave straight away, inshallah ta'ala. If you do these things, wallahi, it's not coming near you. My sister who sent me an email, it's not coming near you. You will be bi-idhnillah al-kareem protected, inshallah ta'ala, with Allah's permission. But you have to be consistent upon it, okay? Do this regularly. The fourth thing is take a ruqya bath. What is a ruqya bath? Click the link, inshallah ta'ala, on the article. It will explain it to you. We all have baths before we go to sleep. We have showers. If not, then you might just be an unhygienic person, which, you know, you need to correct unless you're having a shower in the morning. But have one before you sleep. Change it so you're having a bath before you sleep, and make it a ruqya bath, inshallah ta'ala. The fifth thing is to use ruqya oil before going to sleep. The sixth thing is that, you know, you wake up for the night prayer. You wake up for the night prayer, for the tahajjud prayer. The reason why this is good is because the shaitan will see that the way that you're responding to these attacks is by actually worshipping Allah more. So remember, the shaitan, the reason he comes to you is because ultimately he wants to take you away from Allah. He wants to cause you to go into all these sins and this, that, and whatnot, and then just go further away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When he realizes, or when it realizes that you are actually responding by increasing in your servitude, in your slavery, in your submission, in your ibadah to Allah, it will then start to back off, because it will realize, right, it's not working for me. This is why the Prophet ﷺ said to Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu anhu, the great noble companion, he said, Umar, when you walk on one side of the street, shaitan walks on the other side of the street. The reason for that is because that when the shaitan would come to Umar, he would try to whisper to Umar to do evil. And then when Umar would hear that, he would do the opposite, but double in terms of good. Shaitan would tell him to do wrong, he'd say, no, I'm going to do good, but not only am I going to do it, I'm going to multiply the good that I do. So every time Shaitan would come and whisper, he would see that Umar is responding and actually multiplying in his goodness. So he was like, subhanAllah, this guy is actually getting better the more that I whisper to him. So he walks on the other side of the road. He doesn't come anywhere near to Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu. So inshallah ta'ala, you can have a portion of that, inshallah ta'ala, by actually responding to these attacks with more worship, more servitude, more slavery to Allah, by doing this, inshallah ta'ala, at the night prayer. So this would reduce considerably the incentive of the attack of the shaitan, okay? And not to mention that there are general virtues that are connected to this. There is huge reward connected to this type of prayer at night, the night prayer, the tahajjud prayer, the qiyamul layl, that you get up at night, do wudu and you pray. And also it is a time when the du'as are accepted. In the last third of the night, a couple of hours before Fajr, the Prophet ﷺ said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends to the lowest heaven in a way that's befitting His Majesty, and He says, Allah says, who is calling me so I may respond? Who is asking me so I may give? Who is seeking repentance so I may forgive? Who is seeking forgiveness so I may forgive him? And at that time we are sleeping, wallahi we should be awake. That's the sixth thing. The seventh thing is to learn the etiquettes of bad dreams and nightmares, and you know what that you should say when that happens. There is a book called The Dreamer's Handbook that is a PDF that's been linked, inshallah ta'ala, to the article, and I would ask you to check that as well. And the eighth thing is, this is what Ustadh Tim Humble mentions. He mentions, if it's possible to get someone to sleep in the same room with you, or to sleep in that room with you, then it would help. He said, he said it may help, sorry. He said, I've not yet seen any confirmed evidence of this. And it doesn't seem to have any effect on the dreams, meaning you might be sleeping with someone and you still might be experiencing these dreams. He says, but it appears to me that people who report physical assault whilst being awake are most likely people who sleep alone. So it's worth mentioning here without giving too much importance to this. So he says that, from his experience, he noticed that this doesn't really happen too much to people who sleep with someone else in a room, in terms of the rape or the physical assault. But he mentions that it's something that you should try and just see. He says, I've given variations of this advice to a number of people, and a significant number of them reported reduction in attacks, with some reportings that the attacks stopped completely, with all praise being to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So go to that article below, inshallah ta'ala. Please take heed of my advice. Fear Allah before you fear the shaitan. Wallahi, don't fear the shaitan. Fear Allah Azza wa Jal. Stop not because I told you that you might get possessed, but because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is more worthy and befitting of you fulfilling His rights than being scared of the demons. You don't have no fear of the demons if you are obeying and worshipping Allah in the first place. Your iman will be strong, your reliance will be upon Allah, nothing can mess with you. But no doubt if you sin and you disobey and you have these filthy relations, you're asking for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to remove that protection from you, and you're asking for trouble for yourself. So with that said, I have to love you and leave you. I just want to mention that we have a program online called the Knowledge College. It's an Islamic Studies Institute where you can study your religion, but also on there is actually a bonus course that I have called the Final Ruqya, and I've gone through it in so much detail. The issue of ruqya, you really will be able to find a lot of detail on there, inshallah. Go to the link below, sign up, register, and make use of it if you think that it will benefit you. Please share this video with as many people as you can. I really want this video to get to as many brothers and sisters as possible, so they can really wake up, inshallah ta'ala, to this issue. Just stop hanging around with bad friends, start hanging around with good friends. Come to our Masjid Darus Salam. We have so many classes for sisters. It's probably the masjid that has privileged sisters the most in London, if not West London at least. And I don't know of any other exceptions that might be, but from what I know, this masjid, we really take care of sisters. And of course, brothers, we have a class every single day. We've got so many classes just for sisters and sisters related issues. Please come. Wallahi, change your lives, guys. Change your lives, wallahi. Please change your lives. If you want to be put in touch with good sisters, I can put you in touch with good sisters. Especially if you guys are from Hounslow. This is my local area. I've got so many sisters I can put you guys in touch with, inshallah ta'ala. Heston, Hounslow, Cranford, we can do that for you, inshallah ta'ala. Reach us on our email, nasihasession@gmail.com. Reach us on our Instagram, inshallah ta'ala. Let's build a community. And wherever else you are in the world, if you need to get in touch, get in touch. We'll try our best to try and help you, inshallah ta'ala. But please, 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 I beg you, for the sake of Allah, change your life. Become a person of the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because it's not enough for you to just start praying. But you have to pray in the way Allah wants you to pray. You have to believe in the way Allah wants you to believe. And that's the way that the Salaf, the Sahaba used to believe. Being Muslim was on a path for the Salafi, inshallah ta'ala. A Sunni Salafi, obeying Allah, staying far away from sins, seeking knowledge. That's why I urge you, wallahi, go to the link below, sign up to the Knowledge College, bi'idhnillah al-kareem. With that said, inshallah ta'ala, check out the other playlist that we've got called Defense Against the Dark Arts, which is a series that we have with Ustadh Tim Humble on Ruqya as well. That's something you could benefit from. Go to the playlist section of this channel and check the other playlists, inshallah ta'ala, for the other shows that you might have missed. I have to love you and leave you with that. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hey guys, I really hope that you benefited from that video. Before you go, I want to ask you a really important question. Have you guys ever thought about studying Islam and seeking knowledge? If not, then I want you to reflect upon this hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet said that seeking knowledge is obligatory upon every single Muslim. Of course, that doesn't mean you have to be a scholar, but you have to know the basics in order for you to be the best possible slave and worshipper of Allah that you can possibly be. So we decided to provide a solution for this. You see, many people want to study, but they don't have the means or the resources to do so. So we set up an online institute called the Knowledge College, where you can study Islam from the comfort of your own home. So if you want more information on the Knowledge College and you'd like to sign up, go to the link below, check out the website, and hopefully we see you on the other side. Assalamu alaikum.